Okay, so I was adjusting the camera as it started. Uh, maybe we will wrap this up with this podcast. This is a short chapter. We have been looking at the challenges ahead for managing, sustaining the commons and the governance of the commons when the scale is large, when the people involved are too many, and when new problems keep arising, just like climate change has risen more recently in terms of the human timescales, but there have been many others that we just looked at in terms of cyber theft, cyber security issues, and texting while driving. All kinds of things happen, right? So technology always comes in to try to make life better and easier, but then we find ways to make it difficult by misusing it, let's say. History suggests that there are reasons to be hopeful. So, despite all this, all the issues we are having and still having so many problems in governance, there are some hopeful examples. Montreal Protocol is one which deals with chlorofluorocarbons, but the challenges are many. Globalization will bring with it global scale problems. These will require global level solutions. This will require cooperation between people from many different cultures. New mixtures of populations may require generations to develop commonly understood, well functioning regulations, slowing our capacity to respond. So imagine dealing with a small problem within one community. Let's say it's healthcare, education, which are wicked problems. It takes a while to agree upon resolutions, not even solutions. Now you imagine scaling it up and multiple cultures with multiple basic values of how they think about collective action or moral obligations, commons and free riding and so on. So it takes time, and capacity to respond obviously will get slow. Pandemic COVID-19 exposed many of these issues. Further, because solving social problems is difficult and complex, people tend to stick with institutions that have worked in the past. Well, this is mostly the case. The World Health Organization got beat up quite a bit during the pandemic because some countries decided it's not responding well, and some countries thought it is doing a good job, and so on. The No Child Left Behind program is a good example. The tried and true solutions based on the Protestant work ethic of trying to create incentives for more discipline and harder work through higher standards and more measurements simply does not work for a public good like education today. Why? The social context is completely different, and education is complex, and it is a quintessential wicked problem which doesn't have a solution, so has to be resolved again and again. In order to learn more material more quickly, as No Child Left Behind demands, children need mentoring. In the past, when parents had the time to mentor, No Child Left Behind may have been a great success, at least by its own measure of improved standardized test scores. At present, when in many households both parents work and have little time or energy to mentor their children, higher standards and more testing will have little effect. Old solutions do not translate well to new solutions, and simple panaceas will fail. Rather, we must perform small-scale experiments to get experience with new institutional arrangements in new contexts. Because such experiments are costly and require patience, developing effective institutions will require considerable collective will on the part of the society. Talking about No Child Left Behind and parental role in mentoring children, how technology has played a role in the reduced time. Of course, there is the need for both parents to work to manage the family finances, but also when only one parent is working, is the other parent really busy with something, or is it busy on watching TV or on WhatsApp, social media, and so on? So there are many distractions. In fact, putting children in front of the TV is one of the daycare, child care approaches taken by many, because the children get fascinated by the audio visuals and can stay quiet for some time, where you do your thing like being on social media, etc. Right? So coming to the third challenge, we talked about the scale, the group size, and so on. The third challenge we face is that it's often not in everybody's interest to solve the problem. This is a big issue with any problem where there are winners and losers. So not solving a problem may benefit someone, then they may actively inhibit evolution of problems. Different people have different positions and interests. A problem for one participant can be an opportunity for another. Hence, not everybody has an incentive to solve a problem. Problems don't exist in a vacuum. There is already a social and ecological context for every problem we face. If the poor and unemployed don't receive health care, it's not a direct benefit for those who have health care to pay for and share their health care benefits. As the pandemic showed, we are only as resilient in health as the weakest link. So often there are benefits to paying for and sharing healthcare with the poor and vulnerable, because you can get affected by their health problems. But of course, that's not true for chronic health issues like cardiovascular diseases or asthma and what have you. The status quo, although not perfect, might be beneficial to many participants as compared to an alternative. Such phobia of changes or alternatives are exploited constantly by politicians. As the big election comes up in the US this year in 2024, all of these are playing out in terms of how governance is being used from different aspects to say who will do better based on which interest group is deciding what is better, right? Finally, sometimes constitutional choice rules make it difficult to change a regulation. The European Union now consists of more than 25 nations. The EU employs an aggregation rule by which decisions are made The EU employs an aggregation rule by which decisions are made by a unanimity rule. In a unanimity vote, everybody needs to vote in favor in order for a proposal to be accepted. If the group is relatively small and people are sufficiently aligned in terms of their understanding and preferences, this can work and will work. But in large groups, one individual country can take negotiations hostage to receive benefits for voting in favor of a motion. This plays out in many ways, but recently the NATO membership for Sweden played out this way, and one country that was holding out wanted something in return. This happens at parliamentary levels, Congress level, Senate level, and even in communities as well, right? So in closing, we can say that there have been significant developments over the past 50 years in our understanding of institutional arrangements and the way they structure social interactions. So we're talking about two things here when we say problems of governance. You can observe institutional arrangements and focus on those that have worked and sustained for a long time and see what are the kind of norms, punishments, and rules that seem to make them work. And the other is to figure out when institutions are not working, are there any understandings from the successful institutions that you can bring to help them function better and sustain longer and reach the good outcome. This book provides a way to study and analyze institutions. That's not necessarily the completion of making better institutions, but after reading this book, we hope you will view the problems we face every day and the very diverse ways we are solving collective action problems through a new lens in a different light. So action situation, action arena, participants, rules, etc. You can see how the repeated interactions are happening and what is working and what is not working, what can be made better, etc. Different disciplines contribute to our understanding of human behavior in the context of complex social and ecological systems. Unfortunately, we cannot provide a blueprint for how to solve all the problems we experience. There is usually no blueprint at all for human systems. Experimentation at the small scale and finding mechanisms to connect successful solutions to larger scales are the key, but how to do this remains still to be understood. Although we cannot provide simple solutions to complex problems, we have provided you a powerful set of tools to make more informed decisions and recognize the importance of your role in the society in many action situations. Right? What are the critical reflections? The rules and norms that govern human interactions can be studied with the framework that is presented in this book. The framework can be applied to many different topics, including sustainability, healthcare, sports, education, and the digital commons. Despite our increasing understanding of institutions and lessons regarding the conditions of successful collective action, there are still many failures. A good example of new arising problems is AI. AI is now pretty much everywhere. It helps you with autocorrect, helps you with your searches, helps, collects data and helps you by trying to stay ahead of what you are trying to look for or seeking help for. And now we are worried that it may begin to take over the system by itself because it can learn and do crazy things. So now there is a collective action problem of AI and trying to make it helpful and and not harmful, right? So major challenges do exist in governance in modern society, since the scale at which we interact with others is much larger than it has ever been in human history. This makes lessons about success from studies of small groups difficult to apply easily anyways. Furthermore, we experience misunderstandings if we don't speak the same language or live in different social and ecological contexts. Online communications are known in emails or even WhatsApp messages. Without the body language, just reading the words can often lead to many misunderstandings and quick reactions, feedbacks, and then conflicts. Finally, new problems are constantly emerging due to rapid environmental and technological change. AI is just one of them. Drones are introducing some new problems as well, and so on. So now you make yourself think. How can you make a difference in addressing major problems in society? Will climate change be a problem that requires everybody to participate and no free riding is possible? Ask older family members how they made arrangements for getting out in time before a mobile phone or existing. In a time before mobile phones and texting existed. Do you see changes in rules and norms? Older family members come from a different action situation, different sets of rules and norms, so you can ask them how they have seen changes. What do you see as the most challenging topic of governance in the future? Will it be climate change? Will it be health? There are compound events. Climate change is related to health, but because of globalization and ease of travel, will health become a bigger problem, or will AI become a problem? Will geopolitical conflicts, lack of fossil fuel access, and so on, will they become problems? What will be the governance topics that will become bigger and bigger challenges? Will they be global? Will they be local? Maybe there will be a combination. Okay, so think of those and try to apply the institutional analysis framework. Okay, so this concludes the chapter and in fact the book. I will have a section called New Findings, but that will be more for the whole course of sustainability. Remember, this is one part of the course of sustainability. I'm using multiple books, reports, and I will have new findings where I'll keep on adding new topics, new results that are reported that are related to the topic of sustainability in general and sustaining the commons and so on, as in particular. Okay, so let me leave this here.